email and you're like, oh my God, really? Yeah, a little bit of shock was, I think, setting in. Here's Luna. Say hi, Luna. Luna's now 5 months old, right, honey? You're doing pretty good. Most days we have no accidents, but then some days we do, but you're getting better at it. She's a very nice puppy. Yeah. We love her. We're gonna keep her. So anyway, this isn't about Luna, this video, but it could be. It is about, as my thumbnail says, I was laid off at 50 years old. But the point is, yes, it's certainly about the age. It's a little bit different being laid off in your 20s, 30s, 40s versus laid off in your 50s. Or 60s. I want to break it down. Grab a cup of coffee. I have mine. I have the fire beside me, so if you're hearing crackling, that's my fire. And let's have a chat about how I dealt with this, because I came out way on top. I got through it, and I want to share my experience with this. I think even though we are all unique people, we share these bumps in the road. And I think it's important to share if you've had success from your bump in the road and how you dealt with it. So get your cup of coffee and we'll have a chat. So yes, this was in 2020, in May of 2020. So the whole world had broken out in a pandemic. And like so many others, that was one of the benefits, I guess. It's not really a benefit, but I guess, as they say, misery likes company, but I think there is some comfort in it when you know that you're not the only one that's dealing with it. When I was let go, well, let me tell you the situation. We knew that 20% of the employee count was going to be laid off. I was an employee that had been there 1 year. I had been working prior to this company, and I felt very successful in my role and had been there for 19 years. I just really on, not a bit of a whim, I threw my name in the hat for this job. After 3 interviews, there was a psychiatric evaluation. There was a lot of hurdles that I had to jump in order to get this job. It was in the realm of real estate here in Vancouver, but it's a different kind of real estate. It's not brokerage, or it's not, sales. It is working in the property real estate group within bigger business. I really felt like once I was offered the job that this would be my role probably until I retired. When I knew people were going to be let off, there was a part of me that thought, as this real estate person, I was able to potentially bring in money. And there were some other factors where it's like, I'm not sure that I would let my role go, because there's a potential for my role to keep growing even if the world was in this state of a pandemic. That's on the pro side. On the con side, yeah, I was a newer person in the role. What I would find out is that they chose those to lay off based on going back 5 years and how the company was operating and what roles they were utilizing 5 years prior. The unfortunate meeting request popped in too, and we all knew it was going to happen on this one Monday. You get this email and you're like, oh my God, really? Like, I really felt like not nervous, but yeah, a little bit of shock was, I think, setting in. So yeah, the 1 o'clock meeting started, and I was expecting my VP to be on the screen, and 2 people showed up, and it was both the HR manager and the VP. It was a really quite pleasant letting go and informing me that, yeah, I was unfortunately one of the ones that was picked that would, I think there was 120 people let go. Although my VP was very upset by it, he wished me well, and he stated he would give me a letter of reference to anyone I needed, which he did. And then the HR person stayed on longer and talked to me through the steps that would happen. And you kind of go away from letting go like that, of having all of these feelings all of a sudden. I would consider myself a career woman. I'd always worked and had a paycheck every 2 weeks. So that was a little shocking, the whole thing. And I guess that would be my first tip for anyone going through it. Know that these feelings that you're going to go through and that you're going to feel are really natural, and it's going to be a roller coaster. You're going to feel down and sad and angry, and yeah, there's going to certainly the shock of how is this going to impact. You're going to have a ton of questions running through your mind. And I guess one of my tips that is start writing down all of your questions to get them out of your head so they're not just rattling around while you're trying to sleep, and perhaps the next day. Maybe leave chunks of space so you can start self-answering what you will do, what you want to do. Feel your feelings. But certainly if you're feeling sad, which is natural, don't stay there for very long, because this is time that you have to be there for you. And it's, we're often taking care of other people, or we're being there for others, where this point in time, especially at 40 or 50 or 60, you have to be there for you. But well, guess what? This is your chance for taking care of yourself. And so this is not a time to wallow for very long. Wallow for a bit, because it is a loss. It is a breakup of a sorts. It's a grieving, a death of a certain life that you felt. But now it's time to step two. You've got to make a plan. Part of the planning for me is get your paperwork done for unemployment insurance. Here in Canada, we have our social program to support Canadians is quite good. If you've paid in, certainly we pay higher taxes, but out of all the years outside of maternity leave, I don't think I'd ever utilized unemployment insurance. This was the time I needed that assistance, and I utilized it. I certainly was given a severance package. And this is the thing about severance. I could have gone for more. The company had pulled me away from a 19-year career from another big business here in British Columbia. There is a part of life where you have to think about your energy and where you want to put it. Because I think going after a company would draw a lot of time, money from you. And it just was, I kind of weighed out the amount of money that potentially I could, because I knew others in the company that were let go. And I was even being encouraged because others were going to sue for more severance. I am a negotiator in what I do. And so I understood, I calculated it out, and I felt like in the long run, it wouldn't be worth it for me. If you feel wronged in any way, you need to do your research. The bottom line is you don't want to regret. So if you assess it and you analyze and you do your calculations and you make a decision, you will never regret. And I've never regretted it. It's like, that's fine. Will be of that much value. So I close the book on it. You make a decision and you move past it. So after getting my ducks in a row to cover my basic expenses, then it was really time to think about what I wanted to do. Did I want to jump into another career, start job hunting? Certainly getting your resume. A lot of times when you are let go, you are offered not only part of a severance as a compensation, but another part of that I think is quite normal now is providing you a human resources company that helps you with crafting cover letters, resumes. Take advantage of every aspect of a severance. And she was just helpful, just generally. She studied and went to school for human resources. So she actually understood kind of some of the emotions that you go through when you lose a job at any age. And I really think these tips aren't just because I was 50. Let's focus on, impacts of 40 and up. And I say 40 and up because after 40, I started thinking about retirement. Prior to 40, I didn't really care. It seemed so far in the future, I didn't even After 40, I started going, what? The calculation has to work out to what? So when you lose a job after 50 or after 60, it's way more of an impact because retirement is tangible. It's right over there now. And now I'm impacted. You have to show up for yourself, like I said. So I did some navel gazing. Think about, can I see myself? Should I throw my hat in the ring for other jobs? For me, I am a land man. That's the new show on Taylor Sheridan. And by the way, I thought I liked the show, but I dislike the show because there's actually not a lot of content about the actual title of the show that I had to stop. It was so salacious and so silly. It was just ridiculous. And I was watching it for the content on my career, on people doing projects of licensing, leasing, acquisitions of land, on projects, whether it be oil and gas, linear projects, lines, power, pipelines. I was looking forward to seeing that as part of the show. I got to episode 5. Anyway, that is my area of expertise. It was a decision for me to make. I started applying on similar jobs in different companies, even perhaps going back to the company I had left. And what I decided in the end is something that I had contemplated for years. In fact, I remember saying to the VP when he was letting me go, I said, it's okay, I will be fine. I have transferable skills. I know who I am. I know that I take away what I brought to the company and why you wanted to hire me in the first place. And you have to keep confidence in yourself. You just have to, because again, you're showing up for you, and this is the most important time that you have to stand up for yourself. You need to believe in yourself. If there are skills that you need, it's time to work. And this is the thing, it's time to dream your dream. You need to navel gaze. You need to think about this, but don't do it too long. Take good time to think about, and some people might think this is woo-woo, but you do have to visualize yourself into certain positions, or working or commuting to, as you're looking up jobs in other companies. It's like, can you see yourself doing that and liking and loving it as much as you did the other company, if you did love your job? But for me, I thought it was time to take a risk on myself and start my own consulting company in my area that I had enjoyed working in for several decades. And I did it. I made a decision. Although I must say, I still threw out a few applications here and there and talked to some people, but I wasn't convinced. At a certain point, I incorporated my name, my company, my directors, how my company was going to be formed. I started studying up about owning my own business. And that was really, for me, it was exciting. It was this big risk that I was taking on myself. And what better risk to, especially if you believe in your skills and who you are and your network. So for me, it was exciting. However, overwhelming. It was overwhelming. When you decide to do something like that, it is, from everything I had to learn, I was one person and I had to do everything. And I wasn't about to start a consultancy of a whole bunch of people like me. I suppose I could, and I could even today take on more people. But at that time, I just wanted to build it for myself, and I knew it was scalable. But the only person, your IT, my website, my QuickBooks, I did get an accountant, I did get a lawyer, and I decided to have an all-female supporting me. And I love my little core team of women that help me in my business. I've never looked back. And And I will say, I hit many walls. It is overwhelming some days when you're building something for yourself. I think part of what helped me persevere was this dream. I would go back to if you have notebooks, I would go back to dreaming up even my logo. I sketched a bunch of logos and then had my kids help me. My son actually created the one that you see, which is actually very similar to the one on YouTube. But the double L's for Lisa, it's hard. It's not, you have to persevere, whether you're making applications and submitting and following up. That's a hard route too. Perseverance, believing in yourself, meditating, picking yourself up, getting the skills you need. Maybe there is a reason. And I'm actually talking to one of my kids who's unemployed right now and about the follow-up. And we're coming up with these clever things to do in order to get feedback from if you didn't get a job, how, and I'm going to fund this one idea for him, is ask for feedback and say that you appreciate their time in giving you feedback, and that you will send them a Starbucks gift card to understand where you're falling short. And so understanding where you're falling short from wherever that maybe yourself, and then getting that skill set. It is hard work. To make money, to be successful in life financially takes hard work. It takes hard work. And even with this YouTube channel, I have a full career, working hours during the week. This is hard work. To pump out a video every 1 to 2 weeks for someone that has a very full life is hard. And I commit to doing this because actually I enjoy doing this. It is kind of a hobby. And I started doing this in the fall of 2020. So I had built my business, and the only reason I started doing this was because I was even committed to learning more about social media. I really didn't understand. I made a decision that I would also have this stream of potential monetization of my YouTube. But it is a creative outlet, and I do enjoy aspects to it, but it doesn't mean it's fun all the time. Editing, tweaking stuff, especially if you're creative, it's always not perfect all of the time, and you're kind of like, I don't know, or you see yourself, anything that is worth it, relationships, everything. Training Luna, putting the time in is worth it. So don't get down and just give up. Keep plugging away at it. But also know that you need to have some time to just do nothing. Sit by a fire, have a cup of coffee. Everything in balance, right? I'm a strong believer in that. And that's why sometimes I don't get videos out, because I'm having a good time. I guess the end of my story is, here I sit 4 years later with a company that's doing well. I am better off now. Like, I can't even think of if my life was still the same and I was still at the company. I don't think I would be loving it as much as I love my current life right now. Perseverance is how you make it through. Positive attitude. Have balance in your life. Dream big. Believe in yourself. Everything will be fine. Thanks for watching, everybody.